Hello, my name is Charles Nordby, and I'm the man who saved Raley's from certain bankruptcy back in 1974. I hired security agents to work behind the windows and in the towers, and I started observing vendors and employees and reviewing vendor invoices for dishonest billings. I immediately detected a dishonest cigarette supplier who had cheated Raley's out of $50,000 in less than 6 months in a few stores. They received restitution for this amount. Every day at the stores, I was detecting dishonest vendors that were cheating Raley's stores for thousands of dollars daily using every dishonest method possible. The stores were so poorly managed and supervised that I had to spend far too much time observing at store level. Managers were allowing janitors to check in vendors and then take the invoice to the front of the store and take money out of a register and walk back to the vendor with the COD payment for merchandise. Managers would sign invoices for thousands of dollars of health and beauty aids and household orders without counting it or even seeing it. In the coming months, I detected more than 20 suppliers cheating Raley stores for thousands of dollars daily, weekly, and monthly. Almost every meat, poultry, fish, and deli supplier were cheating Raley's on every delivery. It was no wonder that Raley's had the highest prices of any chain in the Sacramento area. Their stores had become bread and milk stops for people on their way home. Dark meat in the case and rotten produce were the results of high prices. Dirty stores, poor service, and out of merchandise was common in Raley's operation. During this 13-week test period, I was almost working around the clock. I was up at 6 a.m. and in the stores to observe the vendors, and most nights I was still reviewing vendor invoices back at the motel until 2 a.m. At the end of the 13-week quarterly test period, the inventory was taken at the 6 stores. All showed increases in gross margins of 2.5 to 4% of sales for the grocery stores and as high as 6% increases in gross margins for drug outlets. These results were unbelievable and really had the president and 2 vice presidents of Raley's very excited. They called me into the office for a meeting and informed me that they wanted my program in all of their stores, including the Eagle Thrifty chain that they had recently acquired in Reno. They told me that they wanted my program in all of their stores on a crash basis and to hire as many carpenters as necessary to install windows and security booths in all of their stores. They told me not to spare any expense in getting this done. For the next several months, I was very busy in supervising the installation of windows and security booths in all of their stores and the hiring of security agents to work the stores. If I thought that the Raley's California stores were the worst that I had ever encountered as far as shoplifting, employee theft, and vendor theft and mismanagement from the president of Raley's, the vice president, the buyers, pricers, supervisors, managers, assistant managers, receiving clerks, and clerks until I reviewed the Nevada Eagle Thrifty chain of stores. It was very evident why the brothers who owned the Thrifty chain of stores had to get rid of them before they went bankrupt. Charles Collins, the president of Raley's, and Jim Teal, the vice president of Raley's, and the son-in-law of Tom Raley are the 2 men who made the decision to buy the Eagle Thrifty chain. Collins and Teal didn't have a single day's experience in the grocery business. Collins had been a bookkeeper until he was named president of Raley's, and Teal married Raley's only daughter and had been a meat cutter for a short period of time. These 2 men were a joke as far as being qualified to purchase a chain of stores. The stores were in such bad condition that Raley's wouldn't have been able to make the first payment due in July of 1974. Raley's only wanted the stores in order to skim off all of the money possible before declaring bankruptcy. After I finished installing windows in all of the stores, I was called into the office for a meeting with the three top executives. I was asked to give up my company and to join Raley's full-time. I turned down the offer. A couple of weeks later, I was made the offer again, and I inquired as to how much would the job pay. I was asked how much did I want, and I mentioned a figure that was based on my getting bonuses. I was asked to accept $5,000 less salary with the offer of larger bonuses once Raley's was profitable. The three men sitting in on this meeting all heard this offer. I talked it over with my partner, and he agreed to my buying him out and going with Raley's. This was the biggest mistake of my life. I asked the president to sign a contract concerning the promised bonuses, and he told me that Raley's and his word were their bond, and that I would never have to worry about the bonuses. Collins was known for being a Christian who held Bible classes at his home every Friday night for employees, so I decided to trust him. Little did I know that he was a con man who would lie to anyone. After Raley's ended the first year of my program and had millions in profit, I kept waiting for my first bonus. Store managers had received theirs, and in most instances, they didn't deserve any bonus. I asked Collins about my promised bonus, and he hesitated, and then he said that I didn't qualify this year because I hadn't gotten rid of my business partner like he had instructed me to. I told him that I had paid off my partner last year. Collins mumbled something to the effect that bonuses were over for the year, but that I would get one next year. Right then and there, I should have recognized that Collins was a con man and walked out of Raley's. Collins had insisted that I move my family to the Sacramento area, and I had also been paying my partner half of my salary for the year, so financially I couldn't afford to quit Raley's at this time. There was so much theft within the Raley stores that it was impossible for them to stay in business. If you just consider the fact that more than 20 major suppliers were cheating Raley's every day of the week, you can't find a single grocer anywhere that would tell you that Raley's could stay in business. I haven't told you about the deli supplier who was cheating Raley's for thousands of dollars weekly and then sat in Raley's office every Monday morning waiting for a check because he didn't trust Raley's. This is a true statement. Raley's had to open all of the store's reports for the week and take out all of the deli invoices and add them up and make a checkout. This deli company had been doing this for years, and I added up more than $79,000 that Raley's had been cheated out of in the few months that I could find invoices for. I gave Collins the proof of these thefts. About a week later, I asked Collins if he had collected restitution from the deli firm, and he acted a little funny when he told me that Tom Raley told him to forget the restitution because this was an old supplier that had helped him out over the years. I didn't believe this for a minute. I believed that Collins was so embarrassed for having paid these supplier invoices month after month after month for year after year after year that he just simply didn't tell Tom Raley about my catching this supplier. I believe that Charles Collins took credit for catching this supplier and also took credit for many of my accomplishments while I was working for Raley's. Hello, my name is Charles Nordby, and I'm the man who saved Raley's from certain bankruptcy back in 1974.